This is AmateurLogic, episode 149 for November 15th, 2020, another Friday the 13th. This episode of AmateurLogic is brought to you by MFJ, the world leaders in ham radio accessories at MFJEnterprises.com. Ham for the holidays, and Icom's got two new radios. The ID52A handheld and IC705 will give hours of fun and enjoyment working your favorite bands this holiday season. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm George.
I'm Tommy.
I'm Emil.
And
I'm Mike.
Sorry about that, Mike. I tried to chop you off there. We've got another special episode of AmateurLogic for you tonight. This, well, it's actually titled Another Friday the 13th. Didn't we just have one of those 2 or 3 months back, it seems like?
I think your 2020 is just full of Friday the 13th, if you want to know the truth.
Obviously.
See?
Watch out, Mike. He's trying to chop you off.
Yeah, he's going to go off.
Jason.
Okay. Well, I see we're going to have a lot of excitement tonight. Well, what has everyone been up to since the last show? I frankly, I don't remember what I've been up to, but maybe one of y'all do. Tommy?
Well, I'm not sure what you've been up to. I haven't seen you since March. But I've been just kind of tied up at work. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of ham stuff, but I actually got a little project I'm going to get out in the morning and do. I'm kind of excited about that. So you'll probably see it next month, though.
Cool. I've been working on a couple of projects that are not quite ready for prime time, but I think they're going to be very cool. One, I was going to try to shoot the video last night, but, well, there were a couple of snags. Let me just say I didn't shoot the video for it last night, so obviously we're not going to watch it tonight. Email, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm kind of feeling like Johnny from the airplane movie. You know, it's a twister. It's a twister. The hurricane's spinning in here, down here, and I got HF antennas all over my trees. I got trees everywhere. It's been fun down here with all the hurricanes. So that's what I've been up to.
Okay. And Mike, what about you?
On the weather front, no pun intended, we've been having some wild weather over here too. We've gone from, let's see, 2 days ago, 70 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, to we're going down to slightly below freezing at night now. And the high today was, I don't even know, you probably made it to about, I don't think it even made it to 50. It was pretty cold.
Wow.
Cool.
Congrats on your Homebrew Hero Award for 2020.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks, guys. And there it is. You can use this for an iPad tonight, Tommy. It's a major
Tommy,
award.
they spelled your name wrong.
It's going to reflect too much in here. I'm going to send some Morse code with it, though. It's the 2020 Homebrew Heroes Award. I didn't even know I was in the running, and Frank called me up and said, guess what? And I said, what? And he says, you're the Homebrew Hero for 2020. We don't have a cape, but we're going to send you a shirt. And this is not the shirt. I should have had the shirt out here, and we could have made, I could have worn it tonight, but I didn't think about it. I grabbed this last minute. I will be directing traffic after the show tonight, and I just felt
Keep
this.
things from getting all backed up in the parking lot, the studio.
Yeah, this was left over from Halloween, so I Just happened to be.
I thought it was your number 3 resistor color code shirt.
No, that would be red.
Red's
No, it would be orange, wouldn't it? Yeah, because black
Mike,
is
do you think any of those awards have to do with any of the bamboo work he did as a professor?
Making batteries out of coconuts and such?
Yeah, coconut batteries and bamboo towers.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's some serious homebrew right there.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
even
know
alone.
really how I was chosen. It was an anonymous steering committee that did the choosing, and I don't know who they were choosing among. I just know that I won it, and I'm very humble and thankful for it. And I got some nice prizes to go along with that. We'll look at some of those in the future, and I'll use some in some segments, and yeah, some really nice stuff. It really surprised me. So I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Very cool.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's raining. No?
That was the applause.
Well, anytime we've got a show streaming live, we've got something else going on live at the same time. What is that, Mike?
Well, we have a chat room going on, and it's not the chat room on the YouTube channel. It's the AmateurLogic.TV/chat. And as Tommy would say, if you're not in there, you're missing half the fun. And which half is up to you?
Okay.
That pretty much sums it up.
It's very astute. Well, let's get on into some of the rundown on the show tonight. I think first up, well, let's congratulate Email. He won a major award this month, too. Email is the official AmateurLogic Slacker of the Month.
Yay.
Oh, well, actually, speaking of Emil, I want to thank Emil for, I got a cup. The High Q, I'm trying to get it where you can see it, but I think it's not working out for me. Haiku. It's got a 705 on it. The 15th anniversary AmateurLogic, similar to the one you had, George, just got a different saying on it.
Yeah, mine was.
Anyway, AmateurLogic.TV family established 2005. Happy 15th anniversary. So I appreciate that, Emil. It's pretty awesome.
No problem. You well deserved, both of you. Happy 15th, and thanks for everything.
Had a little spot of tea in it tonight.
Yep. Cool. I like it. I'm not using mine tonight. I'm using my standard issue AmateurLogic.TV cup here. I did use that one, I think, on a Ham Nation maybe Wednesday night. I don't remember. I think that's the last time I used it. So it got bright in there all of a sudden, Emil. I'm not.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, okay.
You took it out of dark mode, didn't you?
No.
Yeah, I went to another picture screen. Yeah, this is from a Facebook post from I believe one of our new members, Doug Hayes, KD9 LOR over in Indiana, from what I understand. And he just said, "Hey, George and Tommy, just wanted to thank you both for the help with Ham College. Took the General Saturday on October 31st, and now I'm KD9 LOR/AG. Enjoyed the classes." So there you go, guys. Proof that all of the dean and professorship is paying off. So congrats to Doug Hayes, and can't wait to hear him on the air somewhere.
Yeah, congrats, Doug.
Yeah.
For being another Ham College graduate.
Yeah. Congrats. You know, we're going to have to get the class together for a group photo one day, Tommy.
Yeah, that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2021.
Yeah.
We should get everybody to send in their photo, and we could do a montage or a collage.
A yearbook.
Yeah.
Cool. That's an idea.
I always meant is it called Ham College, or it's a Ham College, but it doesn't have a name? Does the college itself have a name?
Yeah.
Ham.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, Ham College. Why didn't you
Yes.
say so?
It's Lipton's Ham College. Oh, wait a minute.
Mine's got Earl Grey as university.
Okay. Well, enough of that.
You know, I'm just gotta say it, George. The idea of Mike putting together a yearbook is a scary thing in general for me. I'm just gonna say it.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It could be interesting.
We're in trouble.
So, but now that you said that, nobody is going to send us photos.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, maybe they
Oh,
will.
folks in the chat room, what I've been known to do from time to time is I take still shots based on the live recording, and then I use those as the photos. That's a little tip for you.
Oh, okay.
Recently, I did a video for Icom on the 9700 here on doing the D-Star picture mode, and it was really interesting and kind of neat technology. So anyway, thought you guys might enjoy seeing that as well. Hi, I'm Tommy from AmateurLogic.TV. Today I'm going to show you how to send a picture from one D-Star radio to another using the picture sharing mode. It's great technology. It's useful for sending pictures amongst your friends, but more importantly, it's great for emergency communications. For instance, if you're out surveying storm damage, you need to get pictures back to the EOC, it's a great tool to do that. A lot of uses for it. It's only limited by your willingness to use it and your imagination. Let's get started. In this example, I'm going to use my IC9700 behind me on my desk back here, as well as my ID51 Plus 2. In addition to those, we're going to need a few more things. I've got an Android tablet here beside me that has the Icom RS-MS1A software installed. That software is available for free from the Google Play Store. And we also need a cable. I've got the OPC2350LU data cable from Icom. One end has a 2.5mm data jack, and the other end has a micro USB cable. This will go between the data jack on the ID51A Plus 2 to the USB port on the tablet. Let's go ahead and hook that up. On the side of the radio, right above where the charging port is, if we pull up the little rubber flap, that's the data port above it. So let's go ahead and hook the 2.5mm data jack into that. And let's hook the other end into our tablet. Right away it knows this is an Icom cable, and it's showing me the two pieces of software that I have installed here that'll work with it. I've got the RS-MS1A and the RS-MS3A software on here. So let's go ahead and run the RS-MS1A since that's what we need for this example. And I'm just going to pick just once because I like it to ask me in case I want to run the other software sometime. I'm using my ID51A Plus 2. You can see on the tablet here that it's actually showing the frequency that's on my handy talkie here. Let's go ahead and change over into DV mode since I'm in FM. This is normally, I use this for my normal FM channel here, but we'll switch modes. So I'll tap the mode button on my radio. It's FM narrow. One more puts me into DV mode. You can see that on the tablet right here. Let's take a look at the 9700. I've got it on the same frequency, 446.3, and I'm also in DV mode. Let's go into the menu, and on page 2 of the menu, we've got picture. If you don't have picture in the menu on page 2, you need to update the firmware of your 9700. This feature came out in version 1.2, so you're going to need 1.2 or later to take advantage of this functionality. We'll touch picture, and we can see a new set of controls down here. On the left, we've got the RX, which is where a picture will show up when we receive one. We've got TX, which are the pictures that are available. Now there's a picture showing on here because I took a picture of my Arduino project that I built on AmateurLogic a while back. I'm just going to use that picture to send from the 9700 over here to the Android tablet. Let's focus on the send first. So let's go over here to the tablet. We'll touch the menu. Let's go to share pictures. And we get a new screen. We've got send, receive, transmit history, and receive history functionality on the screen. We'll just focus on send at the moment. So to send a picture, I'm going to use one that I took earlier. So let's hold down for 1 second. Here we've got 3 options: camera, gallery, and clear the picture. Camera will let us take a picture and send that right away. Gallery will let us pick one that's stored on the tablet, and clear the picture will just erase what's on the screen so you can load a different one in. We'll go to Gallery just for this demonstration since I already took a picture earlier. And we'll hit Gallery there. And I'm going to use this picture that I took earlier. So I just touched it there, as you can see, and it loaded it in. Now we've got a box that we can crop to exclude any details that are unnecessary to reduce the file size. So click Done. It's cropping and saving that picture now. Now we've got some other options: picture quality and picture size. We can do low quality and a small picture that'll send really fast. I can do high quality and the bigger picture, 640 by 480, which will take a little bit longer to send. I ran a quick test with my project picture, cropped fully to the size. Started out with a 44K image. I ran all 3 file sizes and all 3 quality settings, and you can see the results I got in seconds. Here for this demonstration, I'll just pick the middle of the road and go with the middle option on both of those. And click OK. Now we've also got receiver. We hit that, and I'll just hit CQCQ. So in D-Star rules, that'll go to anybody that's listening in receive picture mode would be able to see this picture. And I'm fine with that. I like my new radio over here. I'm willing to share the picture so they can see it. I've got position here. What this will do is attach the GPS coordinates and send it with it so you can see exactly where the picture was taken or sent from. And I'm going to use the GPS or Wi-Fi here for this demo, although we can pick the coordinates from a map or we can manually enter them. I want to use the ones from my ID51A since I've got GPS in it turned on. It put a check mark beside the position box so that we can see that it's enabled. When I touch start transmitting, the ID51A will key up and we'll receive it over here on the 9700. So let's do that. We've got a notice here that says if the GPS on the transmitter is on, both the transceiver location and the picture location will be sent. Go OK. We can see the cursor running across the screen. It's sending little individual blocks. Now over here on the 9700, you can see my coordinates and who is sending the picture in 5Z and O. On the receive block over here, we see that the picture's being generated on the screen. While that's sending, one cool thing is if there happens to be a little interference on the frequency or something, you do have the ability to go back in here and touch the places on the screen and resend from there on, so you can send part of the picture if you need to. Okay, picture's completed. And reset the block to the first one. Over here on the 9700, if we touch the picture that we just received, we can zoom in and see it. If we touch history, we can see the information about it. It came from my station, and this is the quality, this is the date and time that we did it. If we hit save, it saves to the memory card that's already in my 9700 here. Let's go the other way now. Let's send my Arduino project over here to the ID51 and the Android tablet. I'll go over here to my tablet, go into receive mode, and we're sitting here waiting. On the 9700, we'll touch the picture. We hit transmit set. That happens to be the only picture I have on my SD card right now. I took that picture a while back when I built the project, and I resized it to 640 by 480, and I put it over into the pictures folder on my SD card, and you can see it right here. I took the card out, used the card reader on my computer beside me here. The dimensions of the picture need to be no larger than 640 by 480, and the size cannot be any greater than 200K. Now here the picture we're going to send, I can touch that icon of the picture and we can scroll through any available ones. There's the one that I just received from the other radio here beside me. But I'm going to go ahead and send my Arduino project, so I'm kind of proud of that. We can do the sizes, the 160, 320, or 640 sizes, and I'll pick the middle one again. And picture quality, the same thing, low, standard, and high. Receiver, CQCQ, using the standard D-Star rules for sending. And we go back here, we've got PIC-TX. If we touch that, it puts an icon at the top. If I hold down the push to talk on the radio, it'll only send it then, and I can let go and it'll cease sending. But I want to send it automatically. If we want to send part of the picture like I was showing on the tablet, we can do that by hitting block. And you can move to the cursor to where it is, and it'll send from that point forward. But I want to go back to the first and send the whole picture. So I'll do set for that, and we'll go back out. first it'll automatically move it to the front also, so you don't have to go through that screen. TXL will send the whole picture without having to hit the push to talk. So that's what I want to do. We'll transmit the remaining blocks, okay? And I'm sitting over here on my tablet in mode to receive, so let's go ahead and do that. You can see it being received over here on the tablet. It's coming from N5ZNO and it's using the standard resolution, and there's the date and time. And I want to save the picture of my nice project, so I'll hit save, and it saved it to the gallery on my tablet. It's a fun thing to have to play around with, but there are a lot of practical applications for this technology as well. I hope you'll give it a try. 73.
I learned some things there I didn't know. Apparently that picture mode has gotten some better features to it since the last time I saw it.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of people that kind of really getting into it now. There's a net. I did a little short segment on it not too long after I did that video. The short segment about the picture net, rather. And anyway, I can't remember the reflector that it's on, but it's pretty cool. It's every Wednesday night, and I can post the information in the show notes if you're interested in it. Or if you go to the Icom America YouTube page and find my video, there's some comments down below it with the times and the locations of that net too.
Yeah, and include that in the notes on the wiki there. That'll be good.
Yeah, I will when I do them this time. I'll add them in there.
Yeah. Well, I happen to have an email here. Our friend Chip, K9MIT. Chip sent me a photo here and he said, why spend $100 for a line launcher when $6 on a reel from Walmart, a $5 slingshot, and some scrap PVC and unions will do the same thing. Works well, was quite fast and cheap to build.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
You said the magic word.
Now, he did not include the cost of those tie wraps in there, Emil. But I gotta say, you know, I'm on board with that. I almost rushed right out when I got the email with this and picked up some supplies there. Really, all I need is a reel because the Scooby-Doo when I bought at Walmart just wasn't up to the job.
The Scooby.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't either. It was on sale, and you know, and the original price was, almost $6, I think. So.
Wait, I got one. Chip, that was real cheap.
That was.
That's compliant right there, Chip.
Yep.
You get the seal of approval, Emil?
Yep. He's got it.
The cheap housekeeping seal of approval. Is that? Oh. Okay. We're going to be right back because we got more to go tonight. But first, let's get a message. See what's going on at MFJ. Introducing RigPi 2, the first major upgrade to the original MFJ 1234 or RigPi 1. Complete RigPi 2s come with pre-installed version 2.0 RigPi operating system using the latest Raspbian Buster operating system compatible with the Raspberry Pi 4B and 3B+. RigPi version 1 owners may upgrade their units by purchasing a micro SD card or download containing the version 2.0 RigPi operating system. New MFJ 1234B RigPi 2 units include the latest Raspberry Pi Model 4B with 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB micro SD card. RigPi version 2 is jam-packed with features and comes with over 30 new features to excite the ham radio world. Here are just a few of the features of RigPi 2 OS. Remote CW keying over the internet. Support for over 27 new radios has been added. Control push-to-talk and frequency from a Contour Shuttle Express multimedia controller. Control PTT, power on-off, and relays with flicked Bluetooth remote switches. Support for changing antennas remotely with an Ameritron RCS 12 antenna switcher. Power amp control. For an added touch of functionality, connect a webcam to RigPi and watch your radio in the RigPi browser on your phone or tablet. On-screen sliders are included for adjusting AF gain, RF gain, power and mic level, and CW speed. Control 8 on-off devices or relays with macros using a special cable, and much, much more. If you've been looking for the perfect way to operate your station remotely, learn more about the new MFJ 1234B RigPi version 2. Visit mfjenterprises.com today. And that is a neat device. I have not upgraded my RigPi yet, Tommy. I'm going to have to do that.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I love mine. I use it literally. I use it a lot, especially since I've been home. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Because you use it remotely too, but I actually enjoy using it at home here as well. The digital modes on it, I use it for my digital station a lot.
Cool.
There's a lot of functionality in that little box.
It really is. Well, Tommy, you are up next on the email list tonight. What have you got there?
I have an email. Email. Okay, I got this one's from David, KE5ZZO, and it says, in addition to EchoLink being a free way for hams to get on the air, I just found out about M17, an open source competition to DMR D-Star. I hope you could get a word out to other hams about this new digital mode. Could you cover it in a video? A nice mode since you'll not be locked down to just one or two radio manufacturers. And it says look at the m17project.org, which is on the screen right there. No radio required, just Windows file or Android file to use that mode. For Android, Google Play Store, Windows search, Google for DudeStar. Plug your DMR ID, and then you can get that at radioid.net. It's a neat, no-cost way to try out digital modes. That's the first I've heard of that, David. Thanks for bringing it to my attention, and I'm going to check it out sometime here in the very near future for sure.
You know, I didn't do any research into that. I saw that as well. Does anybody here know anything about it?
Well, I hadn't until recently, until I read the email from David as well. And it got my curiosity, but out of sheer coincidence, we're going to talk more about that. You'd think we set that up or something, or planned it.
It seems kind of like that if you didn't know better.
This month, we're going to take a brief look at the relatively new RF protocol, M17, which was brought to our attention by David, KE5ZZO. The M17 Working Group is a team of several people from around the world and headed up by Wojciech, SP5 WWP in Poland. No, it's not a gun. M17 is a truly open, free-to-use digital radio system. The M17 standard, all schematics, PCB layouts, and source code is available to use for free on the GitHub pages. Why M17? It will allow hams to design and build their own devices again, such as the TR9, without having to rely completely on existing commercial hardware operating on D-Star, DMR, and YSF. What is the main difference of M17 to existing digital standards like DMR? M17 uses frequency division multiple access, FDMA, instead of time division multiple access, TDMA. FDMA allows for two 6.25 kHz simultaneous links to be established on one 12.5 kHz channel. For those familiar with sound codecs, the software codec used in the M17 project is Codec 2. Before I move on, I just wanted to mention that others, such as Jonathan, G4KLX, have been working on implementing M17 into their projects too, such as MMDVM. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see it added to Pi-Star in the near future. If you remember from past AmateurLogic.TV episodes, we showed you how you could make a D-Star contact using a Northwest Digital Radio AMB3000 PiDV board, and also using Jonathan G4KLX's IRC DDB gateway and dummy repeater software. And later, Digital Radio ThumbDV and BlueDV software by David PA7LIM. Doug88DP from Detroit wrote a little software application called DudeStar. It connects to reflectors and repeaters via UDP. It's similar in functionality to BlueDV but requires no AMB3000 device. The codec is completely software and is compatible with all of the AMB3000 based USB devices out there. D-Star, DMR, Fusion, P25 NXDN, and the new guy on the block, M17, are currently supported.
VE3MIC, VA3TWT. That's no bother, Mike. And actually, I had to turn my volume down. You've got good, strong audio there now. I've actually turned the volume down a couple of notches on my radio, so I would say you've got it licked there.
Well, thanks for picking me up, Paul. And yeah, I just kind of fell into here. I didn't know if the net would still be going or not. It took a few minutes for me to get everything shut down and get the hotspot booted up. And thanks for the congratulations there. I wasn't expecting that. It just happened. But I'll take the award. Somebody's got to do it, and I'll just take a bullet for everyone on that, I guess. So, Paul, back to you in 73, and thanks for your service to all the vets out there. And we will catch y'all next week from W5JDX.
The M17 project is pretty interesting. Unfortunately, I didn't find any activity going on the Well, actually, you know what? I'm not sure whether they refer to it on M17 as a reflector, as a talk group, but anyway, they're all basically kind of the same thing. But I didn't find any activity. I guess it's so new that there's very few users that are actually trying it out yet. So I wasn't able to make a contact using the M17 group. But anyway, it's in its early stages, obviously, but it sounds not too bad. I have kind of a couple of simple rules when it comes to digital. And first of all, you got to be able to understand what the person's saying. And the second thing about that is you have to be able to identify who that person is by their voice. And I would say it's almost there. You could tell there was a slight edge using it on DMR rather than D-Star, but it's all about the codec, right? So I'm sure things will improve before too long, and we'll see it eventually probably on Pi-Star as well.
Yeah, I would kind of have to agree. I didn't realize that was me talking at first there, and then I remembered the conversation, and yeah. So,
is there certain places like where people are trying it out or doing it? Certain place like a reflector.
Yes, if you download the DudeStar app, it comes kind of preloaded with a drop-down list for various, I'm going to call them talk groups. The one I was trying to find somebody on was called M17-USA, and it looks like from the list there's various, there's probably a list of about 20 or 25, I think. And it seems like a lot of the larger countries in Europe have their own kind of talk group on M17, and it's almost, you can tell it's being developed over in Europe, and it's catching on over here because there seems to be obviously more more channels or more talk groups for the Europeans right now than there is over for North America. And I didn't actually see one on Canada, like for Canada yet, so just the USA.
Okay, we're going to be back in just a moment because we've got something I think is special. I haven't seen it yet, but it's a very interesting topic, and a lot of people have been wanting to know how this is done. And we'll be back in just a moment to take a look at the kjtk interface hub. Ham for the holidays. Icom's newest handheld amateur radio is the ID52A. Larger radio, larger color display, and louder audio. This VHF-UHF digital transceiver is much more than a replacement for the ID51A. The color display is 2.3 inches for exceptional viewability, and the audio is 80% louder. This multifunction dual-band D-Star transceiver supports DR mode for easy access to local repeaters based on internal GPS information, as well as terminal and access point modes. The ID52A also has Bluetooth for audio and data control. The IC705 is the perfect sidekick for hams who like to enjoy what both the great indoors and outdoors have to offer. It's the perfect QRP companion, base station features and functionalities at the tips of your fingers in a portable package covering HF, 6 meters, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters. This compact rig weighs in just over 2 pounds with RF direct sampling for most of the HF band and IF sampling for frequencies above 25 megahertz. 4.3-inch color touchscreen with live band scope and waterfall, 5 watts with the BP272, 10 watts with 13.8 volt DC external, single sideband, CW, AM, FM, as well as full D-Star functions. Visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on Icom radios.
A lot of you know that we have the AmateurLogic Soundcheck Net started when the corona, I hate to even say it because it's almost like people don't want to hear it, but when the coronavirus stuff sort of shut things down and people were trapped in, we started a net and called it the AmateurLogic Soundcheck Net. Well, there's several systems that tie a lot of different modes together, and Jeffrey's is one of the ones that we use, and I think he's got the most modes of any that I've seen. And after the net one night, I asked him if he'd be interested in coming on here and talking to us about how he did it. And so I had a little chat with him, and he put together a nice presentation showing how everything's tied together. Those of you that have been checking in on the AmateurLogic Soundcheck Net have asked, how do we get all those modes together? We've got D-Star, DMR, Fusion, a lot of different ones that we can use at the same time. Well, the man that put the magic together here is with us today, and let's get over to him. Hey, Jeffrey.
Hey, Tommy.
Glad you could join us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Your call sign is kjtk, and it's very familiar to a lot of people. How might they know that call sign?
Well, I do a couple different things. Do a couple things for the Ohio section, the technical coordinator. And they've also heard that if they've ever checked into the Ham Nation D-Star After Show Net. We do that on Reflector 14 Charlie, kind of close to the end of the show there, about 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific.
I know you've had a lot of people ask you after the net, how's all this magic happen, all this black magic, all these different modes, digital, analog, D-Star, AllStar, EchoLink, everything's all tied together. And you put together a little presentation for us. Let's take a quick look at that, and then we'll come back to that.
Hello, AmateurLogic. This is Jeffery Kopcak, amateur call K8JTK. For the past couple months, the kjtk hub has been part of the AmateurLogic Soundcheck Net on Tuesday evenings. Many have wondered how this is set up and how all these modes are able to communicate with each other. So I've put together a presentation on the DVMIS, or Digital VoIP Multimode Interlink system. Yeah, I'm not great at naming things either. Why in the world would I put something together like this? In ham radio, my primary interests have been the experimentation side of ham radio, computers and networking specifically. To support some open source projects, and to interlink ham radio voice over IP modes for interoperability. Many digital modes sit on their own island and are not able to communicate with other modes. A good example is the early days of D-Star, where the reflectors and repeaters had no cross-connectivity to the analog world. I also wanted to utilize the ham radio spectrum that we've been giving and place transmissions there, that being hotspots and repeaters. Ham Shack Hotline is the exception. The reason for that is because those are also used frequently in emergency operations centers. Wanted the system to be reliable and resilient to hardware, power, and weather issues or outages, and wanted it to be fairly inexpensive. Would it be email approved? More than likely not. Here are the software packages used on the system. For more information about these applications, visit the online version of this presentation to explore them in more detail. I'll have the address at the end of this segment. To support this effort, there are 3 virtual private servers running Debian Linux in a Chicago data center. Remote hardware consists of a Raspberry Pi with a Northwest Digital Radio DV3000. Longtime fans should recognize that device as one that Mike VE3MIC documented for AmateurLogic. It is not used in the same setup, but the concept is very similar, taking analog audio and converting it to and from D-Star. The DV3000 is required to have any usable audio on D-Star in this setup. Wires X consists of an HRI 200 and FTM radio. Getting physical hardware in a data center is expensive, and the reason a lot of these devices are remote. The hub currently supports 10 different networks utilizing 8 full-time linked modes. It's integrated, allowing any user on one network to communicate with users on any of the other networks. AllStar is the hub and has individual nodes for control, allowing networks to be added or removed as needed. So how can someone get connected to the kjtk hub? Here I've listed all the nodes and connection points. For AllStar Link, it's 50394. For DMR, utilizing either the Brandmeister or TJF networks, it is talk group 31983. For D-Star, it's XLX 983 Alpha. You'll see that on OpenSpots. For Pi-Star users, it's DCS 983 Alpha. And the A module is just my designation for analog bridge. EchoLink is the DVMIS conference. That is 600008. Ham Shack Hotline, dial 94026. If you haven't utilized these types of nodes on Ham Shack Hotline, you have to press star 99 to transmit, and then when you're done, hit the pound sign to stop transmitting. Both NXDN and P25, they are talk group 31983. System Fusion, if your radio has the ability to search alpha IDs, it's kjtk-hub, or the numeric is 31983. Also on Wires X, if you can search alpha IDs, it's kjtk-room, or node number 40680. On my website, I have information on connecting, systems or radios you can use, status updates, and much more. That is both on my website, kjtk.org, or you can go up to my QRZ page and it is linked there as well. Here are some dashboard URLs for the kjtk hub. These dashboards usually indicate nodes that are connected, nodes that are transmitting, or nodes that have recently transmitted. If we look up at the AllStar monitor, we see that there is conference room 0 up at the top here. I use these pseudo conference rooms to link in other modes. For example, the first time we used the kjtk hub only linked D-Star and DMR, but the other nodes were not used. Each mode is represented here with its own node number, so we can tell which modes are linked into conference room 0. We notice up at the top here that there is a bar that's highlighted in green. Those represent some sort of transmission being received from that node. So if we go look at 50394 a little bit further down, we see that there are a number of nodes connected, and that W7UDI in Washington is transmitting. So that's Steve's node. He's currently transmitting. A little further down the page, we see the Ham Shack Hotline extensions. Unfortunately, these names don't fill in, but if we take these node numbers, we could go look them up on the Ham Shack Hotline website and find out who was connected at that time. I grabbed a screenshot from the WE0FUN machine and their AllStar monitor. Here we see the Canyon City hub in Canyon City, Colorado. Their node 1976, which is one of their repeaters, is transmitting. Since the kjtk hub is connected, 50394, we are also receiving that transmission, in addition to all the other nodes that are connected here. Next up is the Brandmeister Last Heard dashboard. Here we see George W5JDX highlighted, and that indicates he is transmitting. We see his DMR ID, in addition to the destination talk group being the kjtk hub 31983 talk group. We also see some additional information about his transmission, including his time slot, signal quality, and his duration. Here is the XLX D-Star reflector dashboard. We also see George W5JDX making a transmission, however it is a different one from the DMR one we saw earlier. We know he is transmitting because he's first on the list, and he also has the beacon indicator, which is yellow and orange to the left of his call sign. Stations below him are transmissions that have happened before his. To the right of the call sign log, we see other stations that are connected to Module A. This wire's XView is not accessible via the internet, it's only available to me as the node owner. In the upper left, we see nodes that are connected to the kjtk room. We see some highlighted in green, that being Emil, KE5QKR, and his W5 SLA repeater. That indicates that Emil is transmitting into his repeater, and it is being retransmitted by my node. The last dashboard I'm going to show is the YSF reflector dashboard. It is very similar in layout to the NXDN reflector dashboard and the P25 reflector dashboard. Up at the top we see there's a station currently transmitting, KD0EMJ. His target looks a little weird because he is actually coming through on wires X. Below that is some system info including CPU usage and uptime, and then next to that is disk usage on the reflector. Connected nodes are displayed under YSF gateways. The last heard list shows the last time the station recently transmitted on the reflector. Today's heard list includes all transmissions and all stations that have made transmissions on the YSF reflector. There's a search box to search for stations or multiple pages that can be browsed through. The all-time heard list is very similar to the today's heard list, except the information ages off after about 3 days. I drew up some diagrams of the kjtk hub. The first diagram is logical connections. This diagram is a little cleaner, showing the audio path to and from different modes. You can review this diagram at your convenience in the online version of this presentation. The second graph is the IP connections graph. This monstrosity represents all the connections that are taking place. Shown in the diagram are the 3 virtual private servers, 1 Raspberry Pi, 1 DV3000, all the programs that are used, and all the IP connections that are happening. For example, if we wanted to figure out how audio from Ham Shack Hotline makes it to D-Star, we can do it using this graph. Let's begin at the Ham Shack Hotline side. The Ham Shack Hotline user will pick up their phone, dial the extension. A connection is made from the Ham Shack Hotline network into the kjtk hub AllStar Link node. Remember, once audio hits AllStar Link, it acts as a reflector distributing the audio to all the other connected nodes. We see in the list that D-Star is indicated by the red color coding. We can follow the red arrow from AllStar Link all the way across to VPS3, and we see that there's a label in the middle saying that that is a USRP stream. We follow that data stream through the private network to the Raspberry Pi. That stream hits analog bridge, sends it to the DV3000, the DV3000 converts it to an AMBI TLV stream, it is sent back through analog bridge to MMDVM bridge. MMDVM takes that and sends it over to the IRC-DDB gateway. The gateway application acts as the connecting point between MMDVM bridge and the XLX reflector. Once it hits the XLX reflector, it is distributed to all the other connected D-Star users through repeaters or hotspots. The opposite data path takes place for any D-Star user that is transmitting and talking to anyone on Ham Shack Hotline. That is an example of using this graph and how to trace the conversion process. Last but certainly not least, I would like to thank everyone at AmateurLogic.TV and everyone that has checked into the AmateurLogic Soundcheck Net on Tuesday evenings. With everyone using it for the net, it has helped me identify issues, get them resolved, and offer a top-notch system. I really liked the time when Mike and Emil were competing to see who was going to win the most amount of modes in one net. The gloves came off and it was very entertaining. Again, thank you for letting me be part of your net. Thank you for watching. Again, this is Jeffery Kopcak, call sign K8JTK. You can email me or view this presentation on my website at k8jtk.org. Thanks, and 7-3.
Well, that's pretty involved. That diagram, you call it a monstrosity. I'm not sure I'd call it a monstrosity. It's more like a work of art. How did you come up with the plan to do all that?
Well, like you said, a lot of people have been asking how everything's connected together, and even in setting up this whole thing, keeping all the ports and everything straight, it started to formulate in my head, and like you said, people were asking. So I figured, well, I better put this together to kind of show people, all the different applications and how they're interconnected, so that all this can actually work together. And I came up with that diagram, and figured I'd put it in a presentation to show everybody how it works.
At the end of the video, you said that there's a more detailed one on your website, and you can find it here. It's got just a little bit more about how things are tied together, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more information about the software packages that are used. AllStar's like for audio routing, and a number of applications from Jonathan Naylor, G4KLX, and the DV switch applications, kind of how those work and what the methodology is behind them. Goes into a little bit more detail. In addition to all the links that were shown in the presentation, there can be clicked on, and you can go to the web page referenced.
Did you come up with the idea of putting all these together, or was that something? How did you find out how to do all of it?
It was a little bit of wanting to do this because, as I said in the very beginning, there some of the digital modes are kind of on their own island. I figure interconnect everything together. A couple of people have done this already, so it's not like it's something completely unique, but, usually how you do it or the number of modes you've added and how you have them tied together is usually unique, because the DV switch software, you can do it many, many, many different ways. And how you do it is kind of how the operator wanted to do it. Like, for example, I used AllStar so that if there's a problem, I can disconnect a mode, for example.
I really appreciate all the work you put in on that and letting us use your system. Without that, and Brad's got a similar system, N8 PC, but without you guys, the net would have probably died a long time ago. And as it is, with all the different modes and all the interest in it, it's still going pretty strong. So really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, certainly thank you for that. And I've certainly done a lot of work behind the scenes to get it working as well as it is. Enjoy you guys and using the system, and it's always fun to see everybody checking in on different modes and be able to do that through the system. So again, thank you for letting me be part of your net.
All right, well, appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. 73. We'll see you Tuesday night.
7-3.
Boy, my head's still swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty complex system, and it works amazingly well. I had some more, but the segment was getting so long, I didn't leave it all in there. But he's been really, really great about helping us and setting everything up. And we had a little problem with the audio, and he worked real hard to get the D-Star to EchoLink stuff straightened out, and it's been pristine. So anyway, it's a great guy. He did an awesome job on his presentation as well. He's got a great narration voice.
Yeah, it's when we first started out, it was a little rough around the edges, but now it's amazing how smooth everything links together and just works.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the net would have died, but we have so much more participation because we've got people from all those different modes coming in now. We were only limited to EchoLink. Some people don't like doing EchoLink, just like some people don't like DMR and so forth. But now everybody, whatever you like, you can come together and have one big fun net. And if you haven't checked it out, it's a great time. There'll be a slide at the end of the show that tells you a little bit more about the net if you're not familiar with it. So you got to take some time and come check us out on Tuesday night.
And I don't know what he's talking about, George, with the competition. I don't know what he's talking. Do you know what he's talking about, Mike?
Are you giving him a kidney punch or what's going on there?
No, we have fun. We have fun.
Anyway, amazing job, Jeff, and thanks again for doing that. And can I hire your voiceovers for my slideshow presentations?
Yeah, I think Jeff is actually a professional. I believe he works.
Well, he sounds like he might be in media of some kind.
Yeah. I think he worked in television.
Okay, well, that certainly explains a few things.
Yeah. Yeah, he just didn't decide, oh, well, let me see if I can put something together. He kind of, it's obvious he knew what he was doing. So,
absolutely.
Excellent job.
Yep, thanks.
Yeah, it's a really fun net. I hate to keep coming back on that. We also, I didn't mention it, but we rotate net controls each week, and it's somebody different, and sometimes it's us. We all take turns, and sometimes we have guest ones. Jeffrey's done it. Marty in the chat room has done it. Tom in the chat room, he's
Cheech
been
and
net
Chong.
control.
Yeah, we've had a few celebrities do it. Hollywood stars.
Yeah, Amanda and Jeff from Ham Nation have done it, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yep, sure is. Well, back into our email pile here. It is Mike's turn. It's not an email, is it? What have you got for us, Mike?
Well, it's that time again. It's time for the ARRL November sweepstakes, or the November sweeps as it's referred to. Now, because of the airing of this segment, the CW contest part of it has already gone by, but there's a phone contest coming up on the 21st to the 23rd, and I've never participated in it myself, but from what I understand, it's a really, really fun contest, and it's actually a good time of the year because people are kind of winding down for Christmas, and they usually have some free time, whereas, the summer contests are nice because of the weather, and it's just a good time to have a contest because people are probably indoors at that time of the year anyway, unless you're living in sunny Florida.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, I may have to check that out. I have never participated in that either. So,
a couple of guys from my local ham club, they've. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's more than one winner. I guess they have different winners for different things as part of that November sweeps. But I remember at Field Day, the one guy was distributing a bunch of mugs that they had won, coffee mugs that they had won from the. I guess they had let's see. Well, it would have been in November, and Field Day was in June. So, yeah, they just arrived, and they were handing them out to the guys at the Field Day. Anyway, it was kind of fun to hear them talk about it. It sounds like a lot of fun, and I'd like to try it out myself.
Cool. Email, I understand you've got one more item for tonight.
I do. And it's another Facebook post. Not much to the post, George, but it's an awesome picture if you have that one. Yeah. This is from Into CEC, I believe is the call from Michael Grassi. Hope I'm saying that right. And he says, I have an amateur TV fast scan station available from a silent key. Let me know if you can use it. I looked at that and I said, wow, that's got some interesting looking equipment that most likely predates me, I'm guessing. And there's some pretty interesting things on there. I like the use of the paneling for the really big meters and some of the knobs and speaker screens. And George, you could probably name some of the stuff in that rack because I'm not sure I see it all. But I've never actually seen or even received a fast scan station yet as a ham. So interesting setup here.
Yeah, very interesting. You know, that I do recognize some of that gear. Not that I have seen anything in that rack firsthand. This is really earlier generation than when I worked in television. But like on the left there, you see that monitor, the black and white TV monitor, and right below that, I can't see it good from here, but I think it's a video waveform monitor, kind of familiar. And then an old black and white television set, it looks like, in there. And I don't recognize all that stuff because, like I say, it kind of predates my television days. Some of that is homebrew, and it looks like a lot of it is tube type. So this guy knew what he was doing, man.
Yep. And no doubt, back, I guess that's in all NTSC, the standards from then, It got me thinking into some things and what's coming up on our fronts. Some of the ATS standards are changing around lately, and kind of made me go out and look, see what's out there.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. So let me just ask a question here, and any of you can answer. What if you showed up for tonight's show or any ham radio event and you didn't have a monogrammed shirt? All you had was maybe like a pumpkin orange
I thought you were
t-shirt.
saying you didn't have a shirt.
Well, that too. Where could you get a shirt? Help a brother out.
Everybody needs a shirt. Trust me on that. AmateurLogic.spreadshirt.com, and you can get a shirt. You can get cap, cups, jackets, all kinds of cool swag. There's even some Ham College stuff in there. So anyway, go check it out at AmateurLogic.spreadshirt.com and see. There's bound to be something on there you like. Might be a lot of things you like. It's just in time for the shopping season too.
I'm going to need an AmateurLogic.TV snow shovel before long. I'm going to have to trade that pitchfork in back there, and
do they?
I guess it's back there.
Do they have these again, Tommy? Do you know?
I haven't looked. They were out of stock on them. I'm assuming because of the pandemic stuff. But I need to look back on there and see.
Okay.
I hope so.
Well, speaking of pandemics and shows, is there any AmateurLogic.TV underwear for those who don't wear pants while we're doing this?
There needs to be.
Those can be found in the unmentionable section on the Spreadshirt site.
Unmentionables, got it.
Yes.
Moving right along here.
Yeah. Next subject.
I was kind of waiting to find out how we're going to get out of this one, but
right here, this right here.
Yeah, that's the AmateurLogic Soundcheck Net I was talking about a few minutes ago. It's there every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Time or 0200 UTC, and you can see the list of modes we've got there. Most of those are supported by Jeffrey's hub that you saw in the segment earlier, but also we've got Brad N8PC's system linked in there as well. I appreciate both of those guys for helping us support the net.
Yeah, and be sure to come and join us. You see where it says at the bottom there, check in with multiple modes is encouraged. Me and Mike have some fun. I'm pretty sure running around the shack figuring out what mode we're going to do next when we're getting up into the 4 and 5ers.
Yeah, I'm limited to 4 modes myself because I'm trying to use all legit modes, And you guys, I don't know about some of this stuff you come up with.
The illegit?
The illegits, yeah.
Just because we check in with multiple modes in one check-in, that's legit.
No, I don't know. That's still
it should count for half a point anyway.
Yeah, you got to check. You got to make one distinct check-in per mode for it to count.
Well, look, now that Jeff has showed us the secrets behind the scenes of the Great Oz, I can see it's auditable. So he knows I'm checking in.
Yeah. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. All right, moving right along. During the month, you can catch up with us through one of our social media sites, and we're at facebook.com/group/AmateurLogic.TV, or you can follow us on Twitter
at AmateurLogic and at Ham College as well.
Or Groups.io.
G/G AmateurLogic.
Okay. And we need one more because we're missing one from Mike. So
there's an Instagram. It's never made it on there, but we do have an AmateurLogic Instagram. There's not a lot of activity on it. I post when we do field day or go to Hamfest and things like that. There hadn't been a lot of that this year, so not a lot of activity. I did post a picture last Amateur Logic right before we started taping.
Cool. And the show notes wiki, if you want to find the links to some of the things that we talked about this evening or more information, you can find those at AmateurLogic.TV/wiki. And
I'll have the link to the project Mike had. I'll have the link to Jeffrey's site, so you can go check out that other presentation and whatever else that was that we've mentioned that I need to put in here. All the links from the show will be in there.
Yep. All right. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. Let's go around the horn and see if anybody's got anything extra tonight. I'm just going to say, check us at the end of the month for the next Ham College. Professor Thomas and Dean Martin will be back. I don't know what the topic will be yet, so we'll have to check into that. But the last one was amateur television. If you're interested in that, we're studying for the extra class exam, but there's a lot of extra information that was put into that episode that you might want to check out to learn a little more about fast scan and slow scan television to kind of whet your appetite for those. Tommy, what have you got for us to wind up tonight?
Just hope you guys have the ones in the U.S. that do Thanksgiving this month have a good Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna get out, and I've got my IC 705. I've been tied up with stuff at work, and I'm gonna get that thing out and use it out in the field this weekend some. So I'm looking forward to getting out and doing that.
Cool. Email.
Well, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy my slacker week. I'm not even going to plan anything. I'm just going to sit back and say, yep, I won the slacker award. I'm a slacker.
Yep.
If your wife says you need to cut the grass, just tell her you got this month off.
Well, keep it cheap.
All right. And Mike?
I have nothing special planned, but I would imagine I'm going to continue my procrastination on my BitX20 project, hoping to regain the lead from Marty AD0PO. I've got the box of incomplete dreams is to the top of the lid. I don't think I can fit. It was like that game Socko Band where you try to push all the boxes into the place. The box is like that. I had everything in there. I took some things out, and then I couldn't get everything back in again. So I had to take absolutely everything out so that I could fit everything in the box again. But no more. There's no more room. And I have to say, no more to anything new for a while until I finish some of these things.
Well, you know the solution to that then. So get started building, man.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'm going to have some time for that now, but there always seems to be something else. I can't use yard work for an excuse anymore because the mowers are away for the season, and talking with cousin Jerry down south there, he says he's going to be cutting his for a couple more weeks yet, and I've had mine away for at least 2 weeks, so anyway, I don't envy not having to cut the grass.
I'll be running mine this weekend.
You can come do mine too then if you want. If you get bored.
Mike, KC7 DRI John in the chat room says if you send it back to India, you can regain your lead.
All right. Thanks for being here, everyone. It's always a pleasure doing these shows with you each month. And we'll see you back around the 15th of, wow, it'll be December. I guess it'll be the Christmas show, huh?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess it will.
I can't believe how fast it's creeping up on us, and I can't believe we're at the end of November already.
Yeah.
So.
7-3.
7-3.
7-3.
I know you got an email though.
I do, or a Facebook post.
So why don't you tell us about it? What have actually? Why don't
Let me
you?
tell you about it.
Yeah, well, if you'd hold up, tell me about it for just a second, because all of a sudden, a major piece of equipment just died here.
I didn't do it.
Tommy did recently. Why don't you set it up, Tommy?
Oh.
Maybe not.
Oh.
Hey, real quick, George, before you move forward any. Tommy, did you join the mouse club? George, look at his shirt right
I
on
see
the other
that.
side.
Yeah.